over here, gentlemen.
What about presentation?
Oh shit, it's coming down! It's coming down! Yeah!
All right, here I am. I am back from my little adventure out in the Mojave Desert at Wasteland Weekend. And I just wanted to kind of sit down and make a little video showing, how everything went, how the trip went. I went out there with the Great 40 migration, which if you don't know what that is, you should look it up on Facebook. It's basically a bunch of people from kind of the middle, the East Coast, South area, and we take I-40 straight through Nashville. We kind of start at Nashville. Some people start in Maryland and the Carolinas, but it's a lot of fun, and it's really great because you get to kind of go with your buddies, and if someone breaks down, you get to, be there to help them out, which is always good. We've been doing this I did this in 2017 and also this year, but they've been doing it for 4 years. So I think next year will be the 5th year for the Great 40. If you're in this area, if you are in the East Coast anywhere, Central East Coast, I definitely recommend checking out the Great 40. I took this beast right here. This is not mine. This is a 2019 F-250. It has a 6.2 liter, and I rented it. It's not mine. I could not afford this thing. So we rented this. It's a 4-wheel drive, everything. It's got the works because we had to tow my trailer that has, of course, septic tank on it and little mini nuke, the go-kart, plus a whole bunch of tubs and totes and fencing and, all that stuff. So we took all that stuff out there. We had horrible gas mileage. This thing normally gets about 16, 17 miles per gallon. On the way out there, it got between 8.6 and 9 miles per gallon. So if you figure 4,300 miles round trip, 9 miles per gallon, it was an expensive trip. It was a very expensive trip, but it was worth it to me. I really enjoy seeing the cars out there. There's so many different things that go on. And you have to realize that that's why I do this. That's why I spent all this money and time and energy, is to see these cars, because there really is nowhere else in this country that you can see all of this in kind of its natural habitat, the natural desert Mad Max habitat. It's worth it to me. This year I sold a couple of my projects to fund this, and it's totally worth it. I don't really regret. I had that 47 Plymouth I was gonna fix up, and then I had that white 96, that F-250 I was gonna fix up. I just sold them because this was worth it. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about the various car-related things that happened out there. We had, first of all, there was the Black Thumb meetup, and what that is it's basically, Black Thumb Car Club is this thing I think it's run by Spud, but Spud and other people who are just kind of the godfathers of building things out in the wasteland. They put together this meetup of like-minded people. Well, in my opinion, I think it turned out to be a little bit more than that. I don't think that they anticipated that there were maybe 50 vehicles out there. I think they probably thought it was going to be a lot less. And then it turned into a big photo shoot. It had a lot of people out there who weren't Black Thumbs, who were there to take photos, and that's great. Get more publicity. So there was that. I really enjoyed that. But then the car show, it was basically a mini car show at that point, because then the car show was the next day on Friday, I think. I don't know what day was what, but Friday was the car show, and that was a little more, it was supposed to be more organized and more, they had awards and they had things like that. They had, which was really fun for me, I think, was at the end, they smashed up this Toyota, this old, probably late 90s Toyota Corolla, I guess, or Camry. They all look the same to me. And they were going to start it up, let it run until it exploded. And they even had on the side, we're going to blow this thing up. Well, I thought they were going to blow it up with like Tannerite or something, but they actually blew it up by, they were trying to blow it up by running it until it froze up. I guess they took the oil out of it. Well, joke's on them because a Toyota will run forever. So this Toyota just ran and ran and ran for about maybe 10 minutes or so. And so they got a little impatient and they went out there and started hitting it with big hammers and other car parts. They started ripping the doors off until it just stopped running. I mean, it didn't explode. It just kind of just kind of ran out like that. So next time, guys, get a Saturn SC1 or something like that. I probably won't last as long, and I'm guaranteed that thing will explode. But other than that, the car show I thought was really great. The winner of Best in Show, they had a couple different categories. They had like Best Survival Vehicle, which went to an ambulance that was owned by Legio, and there was, I forgot the other category. It seemed like there was a couple more. There was one for Best Motorcycle, kind of smaller bike. But Best in Show was Maximus Redneckis. I think I'm saying that right. It's built by a couple guys from Wyoming. One, Del Bob, I think was one of the guys' names. And this thing, when I first saw it driving down a couple days earlier, and I said, that's going to be the Best in Show right there. That's an incredible vehicle. And not only because of any one thing, it was a square body Chevy in the front. I think it was a square body Chevy in the front. And then it had a 63 Galaxy welded on the back, turned around, facing the opposite way. And then it had the taillights from the Galaxy in the headlight spots, and then it had the front grill. So it was kind of a mix and match. A bunch of license plates, a bunch of furs on the inside, a bunch of antlers, things like that. And I think that's where the redneckis part comes from. It was a lot of like hunting trophies, plus license plates and scrap metal and everything kind of stuck together. I have this rule that I think I maybe talked about in one of my previous episodes where I said I don't like when people just stick random stuff on cars. And that was when I first saw this, I really loved it. And one of my first thoughts was, I don't really like how there's just random shiny license plates stuck on there. But that said, I'm going to eat crow because this thing was actually well done with the random parts stuck on there, especially the antlers and the fur and everything, because it kind of showed a theme. It still showed a theme, so it still had this kind of redneck theme, which worked really well, and it got him Best of Show. Not only that, it was loud. I imagine with the Chevy, I think it was a Chevy chassis underneath, and I'm guessing it had a 454. It sounded like a big block. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I wish I would have talked to the guy more. I talked to him a little bit at the car cruise. He was right next to me at the car cruise. We drove together, which that I have to talk about because that was a lot of fun. The car cruise is basically, we lined up, we get in there and they give us different flag, like little pieces of paper that will assign you to different levels of kind of where your car's at, I guess. So the ones in the front were kind of mildly modified, and then there were the big giant survival army trucks, and then behind that were the motorcycles and go-karts, things like that. And then the last line was where I was at with septic tank, and that was heavily modified. I don't think there's any argument that septic tank is heavily modified. We sat in the back. It took a long time to get going, and that's because it was so windy. The winds were, I think, 50 mile an hour gusts, I think. It was pretty bad, so they couldn't get a drone in the air. They wanted to get a drone, and they wanted to do these kind of side by side. The whole line would go together, and they would show, they wanted the drone to kind of fly over and show, how it looks like that. It would have been cool, but they couldn't get the drone in the air, and they tried it was probably an hour. I guess we sat there waiting. And it's a shame it didn't work out, but the wind didn't even die down until the next day, so it wasn't going to die down anytime soon. But other than that, other than missing out on that drone footage, there were plenty of photographers there. There were ones that were standing right in line, so when you're coming straight at them, we had to kind of dodge around them a little bit, which was, I'm sure, scary for them, but overall it was a really fun experience. Like I said, I was right next to Maximus Redneckis. And on the other side was this great Corvair, this lifted Corvair. And so I was kind of smack dab right in between them. And it was really cool. You know, you're driving out there in the desert, and there's a big difference between driving in the desert by yourself and then driving with people on the back. I had people in the back of septic tank, and someone was on the gunner turret. Her name was Joannie, and I had Redneckers right next to me. The other ones, you know, the Corvair, and there was a black El Camino on the other side, all lifted up, 4-wheel drive. And I'm just driving. You look to your left, you look to your right, and it's like, this is incredible. This is the kind of thing that I'm not going to be able to do here in BFE, Alabama. You know what I mean? So that made it all worth it. And I'm really happy that that's something I got to experience. And it's a once in a lifetime thing. I think that, and the reason I say that is because I think a lot of people might say, well, I want to go out to Wasteland Weekend. I want to get my vehicle ready, and I want to inspire you. I want to tell you to do it. You know what I mean? Because I think it's worth it. I think that if it's something you're really passionate about, it's worth it. It's worth going out there. Like I said, I had to sell a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't even want to get into the things I had to sell. I had to sell cattle. I have cattle out here. I run a little ranch. We had to do whatever it took, and my wife is incredible. I just want to say that because she, you know, for her to take off work for 2 weeks to allow me to do this was incredible. She had to stay home and watch the kids, and it was great. It was great. Everything kind of came together. I'm so, you know, this truck right here, I'm so happy we rented this. And I think that if it's something where you're going out across the country and you're towing and you're worried about what's going to happen, just rent a freaking truck, because it takes so much off your mind. You know, I got the full coverage insurance, and you just don't have to worry about anything. Some of the other highlights I had, we put a helicopter body on top of my friend Jesse's Nova, and we paraded it around. I mean, you know, at the car show, they actually went to the car show with the helicopter on top, and there are so many pictures of that because it's an amazing kind of something you never thought you'd see ever in your life. Who would ever think you'd see a helicopter on top of a Nova? And they call it the Hecklecopter, C-A-W, because it was from the Dead Crows and the whole thing, you know. People kept stealing it from other camps, and they would take it here and there. One time it ended up in front of the gates, and one time it ended up in, I think, in front of security, which is not cool. But we had fun with it, and it was kind of a big highlight of the whole event was, you know, parading that around. Other than that, you know, just driving septic tank around and having people take pictures of it, and people say, like, what in the heck did that start out as? You know, what was that? And I would explain, it's a 1984 Nissan 720 pickup. There was actually another 84 Nissan 720 pickup out there in the car show, and I talked to the guy for a little bit, and he did some modifications to it, but he didn't do any like heavy body, you know, modifications like I did to septic tank. So it was really cool to kind of see what septic tank started out as, and I showed a couple friends, like, this is what it originally was. I'm really, really excited to see how much the vehicle portion of Wasteland Weekend is growing. I think, you know, the city grew, the event itself grew. It added a day, I think, last year or something. They're letting more people in for early access, which kind of grows the event itself too. So all in all, you know, there were more people there. It was bigger, but I would be curious to know if the vehicle portion, the car show, the car cruise, just how much in relation to everything else that aspect of it grew. Because I would venture a guess that the car-related stuff maybe grew bigger than everything else. I don't know. That's just me, because that's what I pay attention to. So that might be it. But it was huge. It was gigantic. I missed last year, so I didn't get to see it. But in 2017, I would say that there were half as many cars, if I were to, you know, guesstimate. So I'm really excited. My point is, I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about more people are building. The guy who built Maximus Redneckis, that was his first year. He was a first-year guy who came out there, who saw it a video about it, and he built this amazing machine and he brought it out there. First year, you can do it. You can do this kind of stuff. It's not really difficult. And well, it is difficult, but if you put your mind to it, you can do it. So it makes me excited that this is growing, not only at Wasteland Weekend, but I'm hoping throughout the whole country. I'm hoping that we can get more out here in the East. We have some great events out here. We have Nucleana, we have Aftermath. There's Epox East that just happened. There's Damnation Valley, which is supposed to be, I forgot when that is. But, we have these events out here. And if we can just kind of get together and really show more people about these vehicles and what they're capable of building, what you can do with these things. You can throw together. I mean, there are people out there who make custom cars. They've been doing it for generations. But to make it just kind of extreme fantasy, it's not really stuff you see on Mad Max or even Road Warrior, but beyond that, and beyond Thunderdome. And even Fury Road. I think Fury Road took everything a couple steps further. Let's go past that. Let's build these crazy machines and let's have car shows all across the country, and let's just show them off, and let's get this culture going to where it's a nationwide thing and a worldwide thing. It is worldwide because there's some pretty amazing stuff in Europe going on too. With that said, I do have a lot of plans. Now that I'm back from Wasteland Weekend, I do have a lot of things I want to do next. Let me just show you real quick here. This here is my 93 Geo Metro. This is a parts car. It's an XFI, so it has the better engine and transmission combination and everything. But I'm going to take this out to use for a go-kart because it's a tiny little engine. It's a tiny little 3-cylinder, 993 cubic centimeters. And I'm going to take that out. I think what I'm going to do is now this is a kind of a crazy unibody frame, and I'll talk more about this another time, but I might just make this frame into a go-kart here. This frame's actually rusted though, so I have another 93 that I might use as the frame. And this will be a spare engine transmission. I actually have another one over here. That is another Geo engine that is spare. So, and then I have over here, that's a Honda 1600, 1.6. And I just want to put these things in go-karts. I want to make some really awesome machines, and that's some stuff I want to do on this channel. I have my truck, not this truck, but my F350, my 87. I'm going to paint that black. I already bought the stuff for it. Let me show you over here. I have a box here of my paint, and what it is it's basically Rhino liner that I'm going to paint my 87 F350 with very soon, as soon as it stops being 100 degrees with 100% humidity out here. And from there, I'd like to rebuild Septic Tank's engine because I think it was missing when I was out there. I don't think I have any video of it running, which is crazy. Like, I didn't take any video of myself or my vehicle. I don't know. That just happens. You get too excited and you kind of miss out on that stuff. But I want to rebuild that engine. It's a little 2.4 Nissan engine, great engine. And I think like I said, I think it was missing, but it was still running great on 3 cylinders. I'd like to do a camper. I have a 20-foot enclosed trailer back there that I would love to convert into a wasteland camper kind of a thing and I watch those videos all day long on YouTube where people convert buses and bread trucks and enclosed trailers into campers. That's something I really want to do. So maybe I'll do that on the channel. We'll see. But other than that, I have to unpack. Let me show you those are my totes right there that still need to be unpacked. Costumes, I even have a food tote over there that hasn't been unpacked yet. So once I get all this done, I'll start getting back into projects. I don't know if I'm going to go to Wasteland Weekend again next year just because it's so expensive for me, but we'll see. There are other events in this area. Maybe I can get some stuff ready for next year. And we'll take it from there. I'm just going to keep on chugging on these projects because this is my passion. This is what I'm going to do all the time. anyway. Even if I don't go to Wasteland Weekend, I'm still going to make these things. And hopefully I can inspire you to build your own thing, you know? And that reminds me, I want to thank the guy, oh, I forgot his name. I don't know. I forgot his name. I know he's from Dukes of the Nuke. And he came out and he told me that he loved my channel and it was his favorite channel. So thank you. It's good to have one fan. I'm really happy about that. I really am, because it was incredible when he came up and talked to me. So thank you, dude, whoever you are, you're out there watching. I really appreciate it. So yeah, if you like the content, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that like button, all that stuff that the kids say these days. Make sure you do all that. And I'm just going to keep making some crazy stuff. Thanks for watching.